In the previous part we saw that Lee Young was warning his crew members not to trust anyone from Barren Village. They were heading there for a punitive quest to kill the lizardmen and drive them out of the village. Back to today's chapter where they ask him why they can't trust anyone there. One of the crew members then acts like he knows why they can't trust anyone. Lee Young then explains that players are going to kill each other to get better item drops. This is the first time they have to deal with player killings. They are starting to apply for the punitive quest in Barren Village. For the application, they have to give information about their team, for example, what level they are. His crewmate isn't sure whether he should tell if Lee Young is a sculptor. He thinks that this is a weak class, so it has a chance to be denied, but they didn't care. They accepted everyone until they got 300 warriors. Lee Young notices that they didn't care about his class or level, but that makes sense, since the leader of the force has a bad reputation. He does everything for his own benefit. He is blinded by greed and he gives wrong commands. That way, a lot of players will die in the quest, which results in him getting more rewards. The guild of Lee Young notices that they haven't been given any instructions yet. The battle style for monster hunts on big scale are completely different. You need to strategize and plan the fight. Otherwise, it's going to be a complete disaster. Lee Young's crew ask what they have to do. He tells them that they need to work together and that they only can trust each other. The warriors are going to attack the lizardmen tomorrow, so they have a little time for themselves. They start to make food, and Lee Young shows his skills in cooking. Everyone is amazed by the smell, and they ask him if they can eat his food. He is done with cooking and shares everything with his crew members. The warriors see that the crew is really enjoying the food he makes, so they ask him some as well. There's not enough for everyone, so they are fighting for his food. But he tells them that if they bring him the ingredients that he will cook for them. He asks them a small cooking fee, but it's really nice of him to do this. They think that they are asking too much, but they stand all in line to pay for his food. They even fight each other now, even though they have to pay. He then gets asked if he's weed by 3 warriors. These are the warriors he fought with in the lizard monster's cave. It's the person who invited him for a meal. He even called Lee Young as captain. Lee Young then realizes who they are. He asks them what they are doing here. They tell him that they are transferred to join the Punitive Force. They were promoted to Decanius, all thanks to him, since he guided them so good in the lizard monster cave. His crew doesn't know how the warriors know Lee Young, and they are surprised that they call him as captain since they think that he is weak. After many long days, they finally reach Barren Village. Lee Young then sees nothing in the sky, so he thinks that the sky village is fake. A couple of survivors then talk to the leader of the Punitive Force. Darius then tells them that he will save the village, but the elder still wants to ask something. He wants them to save the villagers that were captured by the lizardmen. Darius wonders if this is a quest, and he asks the man what he can give in return. Lee Young then states that it's only logical for him to accept high-paid quests since he is such a high level, but the man then states that he has nothing to give them, only a couple of seeds. Darius then asks him if he is joking, so he leaves since the rewards are not good enough for him. He states that he will consider helping him. After he saved Barren Village, the man is crying to his kids and is apologizing for not saving the villagers. Weed then asks him if he is alright. He offers to help the man's village. The man then says that he already had given up hope, so he thanks Weed for helping him. Weed then asks what kind of seeds those are, but the man doesn't know. It are seeds that have been passed down from generations. Lee Young realized that he might have hit the jackpot. He thinks that the seeds might have something to do with the city in the sky. He then gets a quest notification. The man then asks desperately to save the villagers. The quest is on difficulty D. It gives information about how Barren Village became occupied with lizard men. Lee Young then realizes that the difficulty is the same as the punitive quest. He wants to help the kids since they want to see their parents. He thinks back about the last time when he saw his parents, but he doesn't have any memories besides them leaving. He accepted the quest, and the man thought that the reward was not good enough for him, but Lee Young said that the reward was more than enough. He tells his guild that he accepted the quest, and he will explain later why. They jokingly tell him that they are not going to cooperate, but they later tell him that they support his decision. They really want to save them too, but they don't understand that it's worth to leave the punitive quest for. But he states that if his guess is right, that they will profit a lot from the rewards. And even if he isn't right, it will be better than fighting with the Punitive Force. They ask him if the quest won't be too difficult for them, but Lee Young states that they will be fine, so they don't have to worry. Darius then asks how the village is. One of his crew members already scouted the area. There are hundreds of lizardmen waiting in ambush, so it's kind of reckless to go in now. Back to the quest of Lee Young. Young, where one of his guild members uses his skill to find the villagers. Li Young states that because of the difficulty of the quest that there will be at least 800 lizard men, but he states that it's okay since Darius will be helping them. Weed then walks towards the lizard man alone. The lizard man can also talk and they are surprised that he is all by himself. Circa of his guild thinks that it's stupid to charge in alone, so she runs towards him to help him. She tells him that Weed should run away if she dies, but he comforts her by saying that he will die quicker than her. She cries, telling him that that's not comforting at all. Li Young then tells her that he will distract them and that she should attack while they are distracted. They realize that the monster's level is completely different from theirs, but with good teamwork they will be able to take them down. She asks Weed what level he is. They are surprised that he's level 68, since it's at least 10 levels above theirs. They tell him to watch out, but he deflects the attack easily. Li Young then tries out a new sword technique. These skills take up a lot of mana points, but it's worth it. Without it, he wouldn't be able to damage the lizardman. His crew is shocked by his abilities again, but the lizardman is not even dead. He's only stunned, so Circa uses her special move to defeat the lizardman. She is surprised that she actually killed him. She thinks that they are weak now, but it was the youngest lizardman present there. They charge forward towards Li Young and Circa. They overpower them with their axes, but Li Young doesn't give up so fast, so he pulls out his sculpting blades and uses his special attacks. He could easily handle them, but suddenly his skill has failed and he became paralyzed. Circa then rushes in to help him, but help is also coming from behind her from her crew members. They ask Weed if he is alright. He thanks them for their help and also for buying him time to continue his attacks. Their crew member strikes with fire to kill the lizardman. There is also a healer, which can increase the mana points also. She activates some spells and Li Young's health has been restored. His defense has also been increased, as well as his strength. In one strike, almost 400 mana points are gone. But the attack worked, as the blow was fatal to the lizardman. They tell Li Young that he's being too reckless. They don't want him to charge in alone. They tell him that his class is sculptor, which is supposed to be weak in battle. Weed then realizes that his mastery on his skill is too low. He only has 900 mana, which means that he only can attack 3 times in a row, since it costs at least 300 mana. His crew are really surprised by these numbers, since he has a lot more mana points than they have. They ask him how he got this. He then tells the story about Sage Rodriguez and the Littered Monster Cave, and how he obtained the legendary Moonlight Sculptor's class. But one of the crew members knew that Li Young already made a name for himself as a sculptor. He heard about a sculptor who was selling beautiful sculptures, but he had not enough money to buy one of them. Back to the Punitive Force, where they are trying to overpower the lizard man, but it isn't going so well. This is everything Darius had hoped for, since he does not want to share the rewards. Back to the villagers that Li Young and his crew are trying to save. Circa is trying to distract the lizard man, and it worked. She drew the attention of them. She tells the lizard man to play with her. They think that she went crazy, but since she is a human, it's in their nature to attack her. They run towards her and try to attack her. Circa then regrets her actions and runs away. But this was all part of the plan. They dug a hole where the lizardman fell in. One of the crew members then uses her skill to burn them. She uses her skill Fireball, which takes them instantly out. But more lizardmen came as backup. They are starting to carry out their plan. Li Young then charges forward and attacks the lizardmen. They can't fight inside the village, because the chances are too high that the captured villagers will get hurt. It was also part of their plan to lure out all the lizardmen. The durability of the sword of Li Young is very low, and it's almost going to break. He puts the steel sword back into the inventory. He has also another way of fighting the lizardman, something he trained for way before he got the sword. Circa is surprised that he copied her skill. She did not expect that he had combat skills too. She gets angry because it was a unique skill that was invented by her, but Li Young then states that this was part of his preparation for the game. He can mimic his moves in real life, in virtual reality. He trained to be a martial arts specialist, and he also trained to learn to fight with a sword, which makes him automatically stronger in the game. Circa is still beating the lizardman because she's angry. Because of the spells, a lot of stats has increased, and Li Young is now much stronger than he was before. He takes out the lizardman easily, and they won the fight. He reminds them of freeing the villagers. Circa thinks that she has enough time to free them, but the other crew members don't think so. The lizardmen are already attacking her, since she used the same move to distract her. Even the captured villagers are not able to tell what she is doing right now. But Li Young then frees them. They are too scared to escape, since they think that they will be caught again. But Lee Young tells them that the elder is waiting and that it will be okay. They thought that they would never be able to see their children again. The crew filled up their inventory with the weapons of the lizard man, but there is still so much left on the ground, and Lee Young then thinks that this is a waste. So he has an idea. He wants to make something clear to the villagers. He states that he didn't expect any kind of reward or benefit for him. He just wants them to carry the weapons on the ground. He tells them that they will suffer if they don't do this. He tells them that they need weapons, since the lizardmen can attack anytime. They need to be prepared to defend themselves, since there are also orcs living in this area.